on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's a great St. Patrick's Day here in your nation's capital. Start drinking now. What the hell? No one cares. Honestly. Coming up at 7:05, Joe DeGenevo will join us, and at 8:05, Tom Fitton. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Well, we launch a brand new sound here on WMAL starting at noon today as the Vince Coglianese show will begin. The Vince show. Sorry. Vince Coglianese joins us now to talk about that and other things going on in the world. Well, Vince, listen, we had a quick conversation after this was announced last week, but we haven't really. You've been on a whirlwind tour, so once again, congratulations. Are you pumped about noon to 3 here across the country?
Yes, but first, let me ask: did you say I had to wait to start drinking until now?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I started. I did. I was like hours ago. I was already going, man. I'm ready. It's St. Patty's Day.
If I were you, I'd been drunk the whole last 6 days, frankly, to tell you the truth. I mean, just to take the edge off.
Man. Well, I got to say, I'm in Florida right now because Dan Bongino's studio all set up down here in Florida. And as a result of us, we're going to do both the podcast and the 12 to 3 radio show. We're going to launch this whole first week in Florida. And then I'll be back with you guys. But while I'm here, the temptation of the poolside alcohol is immense. But I am resisting. Because
you're a bigger man than I, Vince Coglianese.
I can work on my laptop, get a little seltzer water and lime, and I'm off. And that's what I've been doing a lot of.
Well,
but yeah, no, we're getting ready.
The gods have handed you a great news cycle to launch with today between President Trump saying that Joe Biden's auto pen pardons are invalid, and then the fight over the deportation of Venezuelan criminals, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, how are you going to approach the new time slot here? Because we're so used to you sort of picking up the day and the news events and the cycle that we're in the midst of. Is it sort of the same thing just 3 hours earlier, or is it different as you approach a different part of the day?
It's going to be very similar. I mean, you know how radio is. You develop these habits and patterns and learn how to gather the news and then present it on your show, which we are each blessed to have. And so we will be doing that today. And you're right. I mean, the fact that Trump announced overnight that pardons that Joe Biden didn't actually sign don't count as pardons. I love how this is the most controversial thing he's ever said. He's like, those things that Biden didn't do, he didn't do them.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well then that sounds logical actually, and I'm already seeing dictator, authoritarian this morning. I'd like to get to the world where the president has to do his job again.
Yeah.
Vince, your first guest is Tucker. I mean, I know you asked me and Larry, we were unavailable, so you had to, settle for Tucker.
I'm washing my hair at that time.
Yeah, I hated that. I was like, oh my God.
Very exciting, though, to have Tucker on as your first guest. Who are some other folks you hope to have on?
Well, we are this week. I'm going to have Donald Trump Jr. on as well, and so that'll be fun to talk to him about. What it's been like. What the differences are between 45 and 47, and how much his dad has changed as a result of everything that he's been through. Some very horrifying moments, of course, those assassination attempts. There's a lot to talk about. Also, I kind of want to ask Don about, the thought process behind, what was it like to have his daughter have a public profile? She steps up on that stage and kind of introduces herself for the first time to the world. Is that a hard decision for a dad to say, okay, yeah, go out there and be in this very kind of mean, vicious environment? So I want to know more about that. And also with Tucker, today, one thing that I really want to focus on with him is President Bukele in El Salvador, because look, President Trump just deported hundreds of these vicious gangsters and sent them all to El Salvador. Now they're in this maximum security prison. And amazing video from President Bukele over the weekend showing all of that. Talk about deterrent. Who's going to want to immigrate to the United States illegally now? It's amazing. And I want to ask Tucker about that because Tucker's been there. He's visited those prisons. He knows President Bukele. So he's got a really good, unique perspective on all of this. So we'll be talking about it.
We're talking, I don't need to ID him because everyone knows Vince's voice. It's Vince Coglianese, and starting today, noon to 3, it's the Vince Show. Did they just decide Coglianese was too hard for people to pronounce, so that's why they made it the Vince Show?
I think it's about the Google search. I think they just want to make sure they're like, don't waste any time.
How do you spell that? Right, exactly.
It's that G.
I am interested. Our listeners here at WMAL, they're used to your show. They're used to how you approach the news. But one thing that we as hosts here on this radio station, we are fortunate enough to live in and report on such a hotbed of great local topics. You know, I mean, you love talking about Virginia politics, Alexandria politics, the school boards in Fairfax and Loudoun and Montgomery County, and all of the things that go on in this area. Are you still going to focus on some of these local stories, but make them relevant to listeners in San Francisco and Chicago?
Well, you and I know that one of the reasons that national stories about Virginia take hold is because WMAL talks about them. That's been the pattern. So when we have these important stories that happen in our area, as soon as we begin talking about them, that begins sort of the feeding process to the national press, and then places like Fox. So that's how Loudoun County blows up into what it is. You know, that's how all of these things in Arlington and Alexandria and Montgomery County blow up into what they are. It's because we focused on them at WMAL. And so the nice thing is I'm just going to short circuit that a little bit, and I'll take it right to a national audience right away. Because these are major, major stories that are happening right outside the nation's capital. And like I still can't get over, I don't know, this is a morning show, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I just can't get over the fact that the Arlington sexual predator's name was actually Richard Cox. He's like inside of like all of these girls' rooms and like completely nude, and everyone's like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. No, it's not totally fine. Vince, and like the whole country should know how insane that is.
I assure you that this audience this morning hears me wax poetic about that man's name on a regular basis. Just so you don't need to soft pedal it for the morning show.
Yeah, it's all the time.
All right, Vince, break a leg today at noon. We'll all be listening, and listen, it's WMAL is the premier news talk station in the country, and since America has the best talk radio in the world, really we're the best radio station in the world, frankly, in the universe. What I'm saying is, don't make us look bad, okay? Oh. Don't screw up.
I'm not going to. And by the way, I kind of love like the universe that we've ultimately built. We have Chris Plant, nationally syndicated. I'm nationally syndicated. We got Mark Levin right in our backyard. I don't really know how much better this could get. So WMAL is the greatest audience on the planet.
Thanks, Vince. Break a leg.
Vince.
644.